Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going over something that some people find a little bit scary when they go putting a screw into a wall and they hit a pipe. What are you going to do next? Well, I'm going to show you because it's not quite as scary as you might think. So stick with me and I'll show you some easy little tips and tricks on how you can fix a hole in a copper pipe. So before we get started, make sure you're subscribed because I've got lots of other plumbing guides, electrical guides and all kinds of other stuff on the channel, and there's plenty more to come throughout 2022. So if you're not subscribed, you're going to miss out, so make sure you're subscribed. And if the video helps you out, give it a like for me because that really helps more people on YouTube to see the video and it can help more and more people. So if it helps you today, give us a like. Right, so what are we going to do about this leak that we've created? Now I say created. Sometimes you do get a pinhole appear in a copper pipe over time, but it's normally accompanied by one or two others. But I'll show you just how we're going to fix this hole with a few simple plumbing techniques. So once we've found our leak, and it's probably going to be quite obvious, the very first thing you need to do is turn off the water because we can't work on the pipe if it's still leaking. So we'll go ahead and turn off the water. In our case, it's very easy because this is a rig I've made purposely to show you this video. But that is the first thing you need to do. Turn off the water and drain the pipe. Now, depending on what pipe has the hole in it, you may need to drain some taps to drain the water out, or you may need to drain down the heating system. If that's the case, there are guides online how you can drain your heating system. So now we've got the water off and we've got the pipe drained down, we can move on to repairing the pipe. Now if you haven't done so already, remove the screw or whatever's gone through the pipe, take that out. Or if you've got a pinhole in the pipe that you didn't create, then you can skip this step. So what we need to do now is clean up any burrs that are on the outside of this pipe. If there's a screw or a drill bit gone through here, it'll be rough and we need to smooth that off. And to do that, we'll gently run over the pipe with a file. And you can see the surface is now nice and smooth and you can't feel any raised burrs on that pipe. Now again, if you drilled through the pipe, check that you didn't go through the back as well. If you did, you'll need to get access to the back of the pipe and do the same thing. Typically, when you're doing this job, you'll find that access will be your biggest restriction. You're not going to be lucky like me in doing this on a rig, and you're probably going to have to take floorboards up or make a hole in a wall to gain access to this. You never seem to get lucky with a hole in a pipe. They're always in an awkward place. For you guys that are waiting for me to reveal the winner of one of these tracer pencils from the last video, stick around and I'll reveal the winner at the end of this video. So the first method for fixing a pinhole in a copper pipe is going to be one of these click fix patches. Now they're pretty good little bits of kit. They actually form a patch over the copper pipe and they have solder already in them. So all we need to do is put that on the pipe and heat it up. Now there are a few techniques to getting this right first time. Now I'll put a link in the description where you can get one of these. The first thing we're going to do now is we're going to clean up this pipe for soldering. Now our patch is going to go over the hole and it's going to solder to the pipe. So we need to clean up this area of the pipe. Best way to do this, support the pipe, grab some wire wool and you can see that we can just clean that pipe up. And you can see that that shiny area is now where the pipe is clean. And now you're going to want some soldering flux. Put some flux on the pipe. And the flux will make sure that the solder gets good contact with the copper pipe. Put a little bit of flux, not a lot, on the inside of the patch as well. And that will help to clean off any residue inside that patch. What we're going to do now is we're going to click the patch over the hole. Just give it a push. Make sure that that patch has covered the hole in the pipe completely. Now we're going to heat that patch up with a torch to solder it to the pipe. But before we do that, we want to make sure we protect whatever's around the pipe because like I say, this is normally going to be a concealed area and we don't want to risk damaging anything else or causing fires. So make sure you use one of these heat mats. Again, I'll stick a link in the description to one. And now we're going to use our torch to gradually heat up that copper patch in the same way as we would when we're doing any soldering. Now if you want to learn a bit more about soldering, I do have a couple of videos on the channel and I'll stick a link in the top of the screen so you can go check them out. Now the key to doing this is to heat the patch evenly and gradually until you see the solder around the edge of the patch. Once you see that solder starting to seep out, you'll know that it's made good contact with the copper pipe. Now as you saw, the solder seeped out of the side of that patch all the way around all four edges. Once you've got that result, leave the pipe to cool fully before you go on to the next step. And do not aid that cooling process in any way. If you do try and aid that cooling process with water or anything like that, you'll risk fracturing the soldered joint. So now the pipe's cooled down, grab your piece of wire wool and we'll clean this up. And just make sure you've got any excess flux off the copper pipe. That's our patch fitted. Before I show you another more traditional method, what we'll do is give this a test to make sure there's no leaks. And if you're new to doing this, I'd advise you phone a friend and get someone to turn the water on so that you can keep an eye on your handiwork. And remember, there's likely to be air in the pipe, so give it a little while. Don't think, oh, it's okay straight away and walk off, because once that air comes out, you might see a leak develop. And as expected, that's sealed the hole perfectly. Hopefully it has for you as well. But I'll show you one more traditional method in case you haven't got one of these little patches handy. So let's drill another hole in the pipe. Wet that time. This method's a little bit more conventional. We're going to cut the pipe and join it with a fitting. It's a really easy method, but it does require more access to the pipe. Dependent on the location of the pipe, sometimes it will be harder to separate that pipe to get a fitting in. Like we did before, we'll just file down that hole. Make sure there's no raised areas. Now next up, we'll grab a pipe cutter, and now the way to do this is to line the cutting wheel of the pipe cutter up with the centre of the hole in the pipe. You can see there that the wheel's lined up with the hole, and go ahead and cut on the hole. Now to join our pipe together, what we're going to do is use one of these speed fit connectors. Now you could solder this, or you could use a compression fitting, but if you're a beginner it might be easier to use one of these because it's going to save you work trying to gain access to this pipe in tight spaces where soldering and compression fittings are probably going to be more difficult for you. Now if you do want to go down the route of a push fit connector, I'll drop a link in the description where you can buy one. But before we put this on, it's important that we use a deburring tool to deburr the ends of the pipe. If you look inside these push fit connectors, they have a little O-ring, and if we have any sharp edges on here, we could end up damaging that O-ring and causing a leak. And deburr the end of that pipe. And slip your push fit connector on and do up the locking ring. Do the same with the other side. And that is our second method of fixing a hole in a copper pipe. Now like we did before, turn the water back on and give it a test. Now I'm going to announce who's won this handy tracer pencil from the competition in my last video. So I've put all your names in a hat. Let's pick a winner. It's actually more of a paint tray than a hat, but you get the point. Who's it going to be? And the winner of the tracer pencil is Neil Atkinson. Well done, and thank you all for entering the competition. I hope you enjoy the pencil, Neil. I wish I could give you all one. So Neil, head over to my Instagram page, it's the DIY Guy YouTube, and send me a message on there with your details and I'll send this across to you. If you do want to grab yourself a tracer pencil, there's a link in the description. They're not that expensive. Go and grab yourself one because they really are useful, and hopefully we can do some more of these competitions in the future. Right, hopefully you've now fixed the hole in your copper pipe. This video's helped you out. If it has helped you, make sure you give me a like, because that way more people will see the video and you'll help me to help more people. And make sure, if you're not subscribed already, you hit the subscribe button that's going to pop up anywhere on the screen right about now. And I'll see you guys in the next one.